Let's get the show on the road.
Hello. Welcome. It's Thursday morning. This is Good Brother Morning with Rex the Boot Atkins and Easy E, Eric Kearney. Eric, let me guess.
What's happening, brother?
You're tired.
I'm tired. I'm tired. I like that you started this podcast on time with me, though. That's good. As opposed to the last one where you just started it. You gave me a time. You started it 3 minutes early.
See, the problem is I don't properly prepare our guests.
Okay.
I don't tell them that, we start at 9, but I'm going to, cue you in a little later.
Try again. 5.
What?
5 a.m.
9 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever time it is. Point is, I don't prepare them properly. So then I just want to get it going. And then, so yesterday we started a couple seconds before you. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're joined by Steve Cruz. Steve, can you hear us? Nope, I can't hear you, buddy.
You're muted.
This is my favorite part, is watching people struggle. There it is. He's with us.
He's got it.
See,
he looks like he's chilling in a hotel room right now.
Well, it's Mr. One Night Stand. What do you expect?
Nice. I love it.
I'm used to Teams for work, so that's why I just had to find the microphone. It was all good.
Do you did you ever hate Mark Krieger for stealing your gimmick?
We went into this.
I never had heat with the kid, but I mean, I stole it from Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin first. So it was mine.
Yeah. I guess it was a little.
But it was just kind of weird. He was
it was so similar though. Every lady's dream.
In the white tear-off tuxedo, I had a white tear-off tuxedo. I had a black tear-off tuxedo. We both sucked. It was a ripoff, but that is what it is. I got no problem with kids.
This is gonna mean nothing to you, but Eric.
Yeah.
Joey Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We have a friend of ours, Joey Paradise. He used to wrestle for a little bit, and now he's just our buddy. And that's what he is now. He doesn't have he has a job, but he
sells weed legally in Canada. That's what he does.
Is it legal up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
If you buy it under the government regulations.
Right. Yeah. He was just trying to get there. Don't screw it up.
But I see the Joey Paradise resemblance.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
Like I said, that would mean nothing to you, but one day we'll introduce you to, and it'll be fun. You guys can be like brothers. We were talking before you got on. We're like, so what are we going to talk about today? Because we didn't do any prep for current events, anything going on. And then I just said, well, we'll just get him to shit on Troy.
Which is my favorite, by the way.
Yeah. Troy Buchanan, the promoter of Buffalo Championship Wrestling. He was a wrestler for years. I used to tag with him in the T-Rex Express. And you were the only other wrestler. I was supposed to be there, but I wasn't, at his wedding just this past October.
Yeah. So I got tagged in to be the best man because showed.
Was I the best man?
You didn't even know?
Well, see, I don't think anybody knew who the best man was or not, because a week out from the wedding, Jen gets a hold of me and she's like, so you're going to be there, right? And I'm like, I bought the stupid suit. Yeah. And she's like, so you got a speech ready, right? And I'm like, for what? I'm not the best man. She's like, but aren't you? And I'm like, am I? And it wasn't until 2 days before, because we just last minute found out Rex wasn't going to be able to go, and then we were there and it was on the way to the church, and we're like, all right, I guess I'm it.
So he literally booked this like an indie show.
Yeah,
you should show up. You're going to be the main event today.
Yeah, if Jen didn't show up, we were just tagging in a bridesmaid. That's just the way it was going.
Oh my God. I really hope that you were the best man all along, because that makes me feel really bad.
I hope you were the best man, Rex.
I didn't know I was the best man until 2 days before the wedding.
Oh man.
Did you write a speech or did you just wing it when you got there?
The night before the wedding, in the hotel room, I redid the speech from The Hangover. The one-man Wolfpack speech, to make it so it made sense for everything that went on that week. running around buying wrestling figures, getting suit pants redone, and all that garbage. And I went through like 2 lines of it, and then I blew my own cover. I'm like, yeah, this is the whole speech from The Hangover. I said, but I'm not gonna do it. We're gonna call it in the ring. And then what I did was I did a little bit knowing PJ as Troy the Boy, because I knew him from wrestling, and then I gave it to TJ, who knows him as a friend, and then I gave it to his cousin Tim, who knows him, being family. So it's kind of like we got like a little 3-way going with the best man speech, and we kind of ran with it like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good angle to go. If you're not prepared, that's definitely kind of put the blame on everyone.
Absolutely.
So Rex, were you the only person in the wedding party that didn't show up then?
Yeah, because things were going on. Then they were getting ready to go like back, getting really strict with the border. It was already closed. I think it was only essential. Closed. So what I was going to do was fly from Toronto to New York City, get a rental car, drive up, meet crews, and then drive the rest of the way. But the problem was, I would have had to take time off work, and they already knew that I was planning on going to a wedding, and they basically said, if you're going, like, you have to take 2 weeks off of work, and the border might. I called the border, and they said that if it wasn't an essential reason that I was over there, that I might have some issues coming back into the country.
They can't refuse you back into your own country.
Well, thanks. Where were you?
You didn't ask me.
Oh yeah, your brother's a border cop.
Yeah. He works at the border. They can't refuse you.
Well,
yeah, my fiance's from Montreal, and she hasn't been able to see her family. But they thought, because she lives in Maine, but she was doing research on it, and it sounds like she could go up. She'd have to quarantine for 15 days. Her parents would have to quarantine for 15 days, minimum stay of 15 days. And then I said, I'm like, right, but then would they let you back in the United States? She's like, well, I'm a permanent citizen. I'm like, but you're not a citizen. I'm like, you're a permanent resident. I'm like,
yeah,
you got a green card. I'm like, they might not let you back in.
And at the time, we're talking
that might
Trump's
be tough
America.
Going the other way. Yeah, it was Trump's America too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been tough going the other way, but no, she would have no problem coming across. But even my brother, he tells me all the time that now that COVID's hit, he said everybody that comes across just has some like dying parent in the hospital.
Every single person.
Yeah, because they just don't refuse them. They'll come out and be like, oh, whatever. My mother or my father's in the hospital. They're dying. I want to see them before they die because of COVID, whatever, blah, 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 and they'll let them pass. So we let U.S. citizens in all the time, every day.
Well, there's not enough manpower.
Every time I try to go across the border, I can be with her, and they're still looking at me like, but really, do we want him in here? Not really.
Well, actually, that's another thing we were discussing too. Your changes in looks, because when I
brought that up before you came on. You have changed looks drastically over the years in wrestling.
Only a little.
When I met you, you were like, you had like almost a 6-pack, and you were like pretty boy, clean shaven.
Yeah, I got
the short hair.
In the hotel fridge right now. I still got it.
But yeah, and then you like all of a sudden turned into like this grizzly man.
Yeah,
you extended. You got the sleeve tattoo. You only had the one tattoo on your shoulder.
2 sleeves now.
2 sleeves. There you go.
Both. I'm full sleeve, shoulders, both chest, both armpits, both shoulder blades, down my spine, both ribs, left calf.
And we can't even get the fat fucks to agree to one tattoo.
Yeah.
In a competition, in a weight loss competition.
They all bailed. You guys picked the tattoo for the loser.
Yeah. They all bailed. They all bailed. Rex and I were the only 2 that were like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. You mentioned swastika one time and they all bail.
Yeah, it is what it is. Just put it in an inconspicuous spot.
Yeah, like on the ass.
Yeah.
What year did you stop wrestling?
The first time?
Yeah.
2000. Technically, February 2013, I retired, but my last match before the surgeries was November 2012. Because my back got bad enough where I couldn't stand up straight without a cane. I couldn't get dressed. I couldn't roll over in bed. Like, I was pretty much an invalid.
And what did you get done? Did you get like things fused or?
The first one was they tried a laminectomy which turned into a laminectomy and a discectomy. They cut me open, 2-inch incision down by my tailbone, and they were going to shave down. I guess they were going to shave down the bone to make room for the disc that was bulging out. But when they got in there, they found broken pieces of disc floating around in my spinal column. So they pulled that out, which I guess is called a discectomy. And they did the laminectomy while they were in there. And it lasted about a week. And I started getting spasms going down my legs again. And they brought me in, instead of a neurosurgeon, they brought me to an orthopedic surgeon. And he looked at my first MRIs and he's like, "You never should have got the first surgery. Your spine was destroyed."
Oh my
He's
God.
like, "That was a waste of money and time." So he put me in for a fusion L5S1. And this was, my first surgery was in February. And this was, I want to say the beginning of March, mid-March, by the time I was with him. And he said my surgery date was going to be sometime the end of May. So they like triple dosed my painkillers and all that stuff. I was pretty much an opiate addict at that
Nice.
point. Percocets.
Eric's like, respect.
Yeah, Percocets didn't work. The pain meds I was on was $75 a pill, and they had me double dosing it to get through the day.
Jesus.
And he called me on April Fool's Day, actually, and he's like, "You're going in Monday." And it was a Friday. He's like, "You're going in Monday." He's like, "Someone didn't pass you got to pass like blood work or whatever." And they didn't pass their blood work, and mine was still good from the first surgery. He's like, "You're going in Monday." Like, okay. And when they got me in for that, it was supposed to be a 2.5 hour surgery, fusing L5 and S1. And they, when he got me opened up, he saw my sciatic nerve was all wrapped in scar tissue. So they put the bolts into the side of my head, face down on the table, and they had to keep making my leg twitch and my body twitch to get the nerve to move. And they shaved all the scar tissue off of the nerve. He said if he didn't do that, I just would have kept the spasms and nothing would have happened. So,
Jeez.
So, sorry, go ahead, Rex.
No, you go ahead.
So the first surgery, like, is there, and I don't know enough about it, but like, is there any sort of malpractice that happens in that when you have another doctor that says you shouldn't have even had that surgery in the first place?
no, it was, insurance was going for that because it was less invasive.
Okay.
Like my physical therapist for a year was saying that my back was destroyed. But insurance was saying physical therapy.
Right.
And my therapist, he works on pro golfers in the PGA, and he's like, "Your back is shot." He's like, "I can't even get you standing up straight to get out to your Jeep." He's like, "You're toast. You're going to get cut." But insurance wouldn't approve it until they did the first surgery. And at the end of the day, if it wasn't for insurance, the surgeries cost about $750,000.
I was just gonna ask, yeah, how, like, are you stuck now? But obviously you had insurance, so you were.
I lost my job at Macy's, and I was about 10 grand out of pocket by the end of it.
So it could have been definitely worse.
Yeah.
Like, if you
a
were,
lot
Yeah.
worse.
It's
Now-
all paid off now, but it wasn't fun doing it.
if you didn't have that insurance, would it just be no surgery? Like, you would just be living with it?
I think they would have had to have given me the surgery. I think legally they have to. I don't know. I don't know the legalities behind it, but I'd be permanently disabled if I didn't have the surgery.
And so they would give you the surgery, probably, and you would just be stuck with a bill for the rest of your life, probably.
I'd be stuck with a bill, and I wouldn't have got, like, when I woke up from the second surgery, I was having I was in convulsions because of the pain, and they upped my pain meds. They wouldn't have done stuff like that, and I wouldn't have got like occupational therapy and extra physical therapy after the surgery. I just would have got like the bare minimums.
I've had 2 surgeries in my life. One was I was intoxicated and unconscious before I got there. The femur surgery. It was a drunk driving incident. And then the other one, years later, I tore my bicep tendon. And when I woke up from the surgery, my mother was there. And she's like looking at me kind of funny, but she's like talking to me. And what had happened was there was like a freezing agent or something. And the way they had my body, it leaked down like into my lungs. So I couldn't breathe properly. So they had to like put me on this thing to help me like
ventilator.
Yeah. Like just to get me breathing normally. And later after we were leaving the hospital, she just goes to me, "Oh man, I'm really glad that it wasn't what I thought it was." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I thought you had a stroke." Cause apparently half my face was just all I'm like, "Well, thanks for not telling me that I had maybe had a stroke."
When they wheeled me out for my second surgery, because it took so long, my hands were numb. It was like that, like you slept on your arm wrong and you had no feeling. So when they were wheeling me past the waiting room where my family and my girlfriend at the time was, all they could see was me reaching up in the air doing this. And they're like, "Oh, he's so high, he's reaching for things that aren't there." And I'm like, it was after the fact. I'm like, "No, I'm trying to feel my hands," because like I'd go to like grab a bottle and I'd be like, I couldn't like. I'd finally grab onto a cup and I would crush the cup trying to get it up to my face to drink. It was a pain in the ass. I couldn't feel my hands for 4 days.
Oh my God. I would definitely be panicking, thinking something was seriously wrong. Like
yeah, but you panic every day.
Yeah. What's that have to do with him? I can't feel my hands. If you can't feel your hands, something's not right.
Yeah, I suppose, but man.
All I had was that pins and needles feeling in it. I knew they were there, but you could have cut a finger off and I've been like, "Oh, I didn't notice that." Whatever.
I'm such a hypochondriac. Like if I have an Americano from Starbucks, too much caffeine, I'll start like, I told my girlfriend not to even listen to anything I'm saying when I drink it, because I just come up with all these, I get manic and have all these crazy ideas. And then I start getting too excited and I think I'm having a heart attack.
We got to get you some Death Wish coffee.
No. Yeah. It'll be worse than Jesse Bieber taking an edible. I'll just be flush faced thinking I'm dying.
So do you know, I mean, I'm sure it was just years of damage to the body, because I know what my back is like, but was it anything specific that happened in wrestling that you knew this fucked my back up?
The move where my back started to get weak, I was in a match at Studley and I were tagging against Liam. I can't think of his last name. He did like an Irish gimmick, and oh God, why can't I think of his name? Who's the kid that did Shamrock Shake and he wore like I
thought that was Patrick something. Wasn't that Patrick O'Malley or something?
Patrick O'Malley might have been the heavier kid.
Oh yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
And McKinger,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I was in there with Patrick, and the way I was trained, you go full bore and pull your punches and kicks like absolute last second, if you pull them at all.
Yep.
Depending on if you like the person. And this kid had me backed into the corner, and I said, "Watch the knee," because I was going to give him a knee to the stomach, and I do it Jake the Snake style, like knee lift, slap the back, but I stopped my knee just shy of actually taking the wind out of you. And he thought I said, "Give me a knee." So when I brought my knee up as fast and as hard as I could, my knee went into my quadricep went into his knee, and it instantly just started knotting up. And we got over I hobbled over to another corner, and he came over and he was just trying to like work on me, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with my leg, and he potatoed me. So I punched him in the side of the head, and I went over and I tagged Studley, and I got out of the ring and I was trying to stretch my leg out, got back in. We did the finish. We got in the back, and the doctor was checking out my leg, and like it was all spasming and all that stuff. I didn't think much of it. He's like, "Do you want me to give you like a muscle relaxer?" And I'm like, "No, I'm in a battle royal in a little bit." And of course, when I go over the top rope in the battle royal, my leg right in the same spot hits the ring apron on the way down, because I wanted to take a big stupid bump. So I kind of spun over the top rope. Instead of my ass hitting the ring apron, my thigh hit the ring apron, and I spun over and I landed on the floor. By the time Studley and I got back to his place, about 3.5 hours away, I had to use my left foot to take my right foot off of the gas and put it on the brake. I couldn't move my right leg at all. Woke up the next morning, couldn't lift my leg. So I was supposed to train this chick at a gym that morning. So I called her and I'm like, how about you come to Oswego and pick me up and bring me to the emergency room because I can't walk. Studley loves this story. So we drove from Oswego to Fulton, which is about 25 minutes because that's where Google said the closest urgent care was. So we go down there, get all pumped full of stuff. They said I hit the muscle hard enough that the muscle basically got retarded. It was trying to pull itself off of my leg instead of straighten back out. So like it forgot what directions it was supposed to flex and contract. And that was fun because it was 2 days before I got my medical insurance from Macy's. So that was awesome. So that was all out of pocket.
Nice.
When we get back to Oswego, told Studley what was going on. And he's like, dude, come here. And he brings me to the window and he's like, you see that building? I'm like, yeah. He's like, the one behind the bar you always go to? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's a hospital, you idiot. It was like 300 feet away. Didn't know it existed. I'm like, that's awesome. But so it was after that I couldn't do any lower body workout and my core started to get weak, and that's when I started to feel my back. I kept working. We just did a lot of street fights, so I'd wear jeans, but then I could wrap my quad, I could wrap my knee, and I could wrap my calf because that's where I was getting all the pain. Didn't realize that it was a back injury that was causing all the leg pain. Did a bunch of PT in between shows, and I was good, and I felt okay. And I remember we had another match. It was probably 6-7 months later at UW when we worked Shane Alden and Shiloh. And Alden went to go, we were the heels. Alden went to go over me to try to tag his partner. So I did the gimmick where the heel catches him, babyface is trying to tag. When I got him up, my back pinched and we went down to the mat, but my feet were still flat. So I just like bent over with Shane. And I don't know if you guys know Shane Alden. He's probably about 225, 230 solid.
Yeah, he's a thick kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just instinct, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you look weak. So I powered him back up. I just deadlifted him and then I power bombed him. I just like from the waist, I just kind of like modified dominator or something. And when I picked him up, I just felt it. It went from my back down to my foot and it was just like lightning. And I just rolled over to the corner and I tagged Studley. I'm like, my back's done. And
It's so funny how we, like, as wrestlers, we don't we still think that way in the middle of a match. Like the exact same thing happened to me when I did the bicep tendon. I had the kid, he did like a dragon Rana off the top rope and I caught him. And as he was going for the Rana, I was supposed to pull him back up and give him a power bomb. But as I caught him, my bicep tendon tore and the bicep just shot up into my shoulder. And instantly he's on the ground and he's like not even half my size. And the first thing I think is like, oh, the crowd's going to think I'm a bitch if I can't pick him up. So you just fake it and like have him tighten up and somehow get him up, and same thing, give him a power bomb.
Yep.
But I don't know why it's like we can't just admit like, oh, I'm hurt. Any other sport in the world, you would just say, oh, he's injured. He got hurt.
It's because if we get hurt, we lose our spot.
Yeah, I
You're
guess.
done. So I milked it. I milked the injury. We canceled a bunch of crappy shows like UW and stuff. But we knew we had Demolition in November for 2CW. So I got through as much as I could so that we could work Demolition. Got through the Demolition match fine. And the next night, which ended up being my last match before I retired the first time, it was a Survivor Series match. I couldn't lace my own boots. And as our music was playing, I was on the floor in the gorilla position having a spasm. So somebody picked me up. I think it was Cage. Picked me up, put his knee in my lower back, pulled my shoulders back, and pushed me out the curtain. And my finish in that match, where I went out, was so Punisher was trying to get over his like modified Texas cloverleaf Boston Crab type submission, and he put it on Loca Vita. It was me, Studley, Loca Vita, wow, and I can't remember who. and he put Loka in it, and Loka tapped in like 2 seconds. Like as soon as he was in it, he was tapping. And I was getting put in at second. So
Seems like a terrible idea. I would have changed the finish.
it was horrible. And because like Rex said, like you don't think like that when you're in the ring.
Yeah.
He had me like he kept me low, so there wasn't a lot of pressure on my back, but I didn't want to look weak. So I fought it and I crawled to the ropes and I grabbed the ropes and I got up to the second rope, and then he pulls me off and he basically puts me on my chest and collarbone and cranks me over like that. And I held that for about 20 seconds and then I tapped. And he just kept going, would you tap? But
when you were talking earlier about you called something and you guys both heard something different when you first hurt your leg.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was the time that I tagged with Scott Steiner against you and Studley.
Oh, Jesus.
And my big claim to fame is that I botched a spot with Scott Steiner. And I can't remember if it was you or Studley, but one of you guys were in the ring with us, and I tag in the former world champion Scott Steiner and decide that I'm going to call the spot because why not? And I say double back elbow. Now Studley. Okay, so when we send Studley off, I say double back elbow. Scott thinks I said double backdrop. So
and those two moves do not go together.
He comes running back. Scott bends over. I come with a flying back elbow, and he just like puts Studley up. And I think I just elbowed him directly in the nuts as Scott Steiner fucking like tried to give him a back body drop. I also remember the beginning of that match. It was an Easter show. There's 40 people in the crowd, and it's all kids.
Sell out for BCW.
We're in the Italian club Easter weekend, and it's a bunch of little kids, and Steve and Steve are across the ring, and they're wearing like bandanas, and Scott Steiner's on the other side, and he's wearing that stupid chain mesh thing over his head. He looks ridiculous, right? To any normal person, he looks ridiculous wearing this, and he wouldn't get it. Now I'm going to use a word, so anyone out there, don't get offended. These weren't my words, but Scott Steiner looks across the ring in front of all these children and goes, "We're not starting this match till you take those faggot headbands off." And Studley and Cruz just start kind of giggling and laughing, looking at each other like this is hilarious. And then he wouldn't start the match. He goes, "Take those faggot headbands off." And then you just see Studley slowly taking it off his head.
I don't know if you remember this part. I think it was when we were setting up the match earlier in the night. Studley and I are outside. Steiner's in the ring laying out the match. And he's like, "You bitch," or something like that. I'm like, "Studley, he called you a bitch." He's like, "I called you both bitches." I'm like, so he like threw the temper tantrum. That was all. I was nervous about that match because Steiner didn't even know he was wrestling that night when he got to the building.
Yeah, this sounds like a Troy show.
Yeah, totally.
Just get him to the building.
Similar to his wedding, apparently. Just get him to the building.
Yep. That was a good match, though. I mean, I took his elbow to the face really hard because he didn't like that I was, for his little kiss elbow drop gimmick, I was selling on my side because I wanted to roll over into it, and he just wanted me laying flat, so he rolled me over, and then he just elbowed me right in the side of the face hard. But like the rest of it, he was light as a feather. Like if I didn't pay attention to when he was hitting me, I wouldn't have known when to sell or what body part to sell. He was so light for everything else.
And granted, he did the most part he did in the match was the hot tag, but even that he actually busted his ass. Like he was like suplexing you guys like crazy, tossing you all over like
across the ring.
Yeah,
he was actually jump, and I did, and I laid it on the other side of the ring.
The thing I remember the most from that show is afterwards when he's in the back and he's like, "Y'all got a shower?" And they're like, "No, man, there's no showers. It's Italian hall. They don't have any." He just looks around and he's like, "Y'all got a hose?" They're like, "Yeah, okay, there's one out back." And he just goes in the back parking lot as people are leaving, getting in their cars, and there's Scott Steiner in his underwear with just a green garden hose spraying himself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the shit.
Do you remember, speaking of shit, do you remember tagging at UW?
Oh man. Yeah, I remember that stinker. Literally.
So, it was like their cruiserweight. How either one of us was a cruiserweight, I have no idea. like their Phantom division, I guess it was called. Everybody had to have like face paint or a mask or something, and we were wrestling the Pumpkins, and I was doing major beatings, which
Stupid name, by the way.
and not the Smashing Pumpkins.
I was doing major beatings, like a Patriot / Hacksaw Jim Duggan / Hulk Hogan gimmick, which the most over that character ever got was when I used it for Doug Fenton in.
Oh, Doug Felton.
You worked for Doug Felton?
Oh yeah.
He still owes me like $400.
I was gonna say, did you get paid?
No, absolutely not. But so we were in that match, and Rex and I are on the ring apron, and I just dropped one of the worst protein farts ever, and it was bad. And I go, "You smell that?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's what I think of this match." And I said it loud enough that fans heard us. I just didn't. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was funny as the Phantom division because you pretty much dropped the Phantom shit right in that room. It was disgusting. Oh my god, I've shit myself twice in matches.
Actually?
Yeah, once for OSPW in South Buffalo, and luckily that one's like 15 minutes from my house at the time, so I was able to just like run to the back, get my gear, and leave. And then the other one was on I know I bring it up every time, Eric. I'm sorry, a Northern tour.
Oh, okay.
Chris
Shocking.
But I was wrestling Shadow Extreme, and I drink probably some bad water because out there you have to be careful with all the water, and I just drank tap water all the time. I don't care. And I had the shits all day, and we finally get in the ring, and it's like right at the beginning of the shine. He's the good guy and the bad guy, and he gives me like a flying back elbow. I drop, take a bump, and just right away it just squirts out all over my. So my instinct, and it wasn't a rib. I just instinctually got up and called sunset flip, take it home. And so he goes over, sunset flips me, and my asshole is just right in his nose. Okay, man, that's 30 minutes. I think that's good enough for the morning show.
What an ending.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Anytime.
Let's get the show on the road.